Welcome to a new video. I thought I would do the mid-year book Freakout tag, but then as like a daily vlog, so I'm just going to be vlogging throughout the day talking about the mid-year book Freakout tag and about the books that I've already read this year. But first I'm going to do my hair and then I will answer the first question. Okay, I need to wait a little bit longer before I can blow dry my hair to make sure that it has air dried a little bit. So I thought I would just answer the first question already. Don't mind the wet hair. The first question is, what is the best book you've read so far this year? And if you've seen my ranking on the books I read this year video, you will maybe know that my favorite read of this year so far is called The Lost Bookshop, written by Evie Woods. This was such a very magical read. It says on the back, on a quiet street in Dublin, a lost bookshop is waiting to be found. And this follows a couple of characters whose lives will become intertwined because of this bookshop. It's about things that happened in the past, things that happen now. It is just very magical and I just love the characters so much. I didn't know anything about this book before picking it up. My aunt gave it to me for Christmas and I'm so glad she did because it's turned out to be one of my favorites. So if you like magical reads, good characters, historical fiction as well, this is definitely the book for you. I really want to reread it one day because I just enjoyed it so much. But there are 13 questions, so maybe I will just do the second one as well now, which is the best sequel you've read so far in 2024. I have to say, I'm not reading many series this year, so I believe the only sequel I've read is A Close and Common Orbit, written by Becky Chambers, which is the second book in the Wayfarer series, which is a really cozy science fiction series that is super character driven and has just such a good vibe. Oh my god. So the first book in the series follows lots of different characters on a spaceship. It takes place in space. They have to like do space things, and that is one of my favorite books. Just the whole character-driven aspect of the story warmed my heart. This book, however, only follows a few of those characters from the first book, and it's a pity because I liked it more with all the characters in there. So I still really enjoyed this one, definitely a very great one, but not as good as the first one, which is The Long Way to a Small Angry Planet, by the way. Highly recommend that one. This one was fun. I still have the third book in this series as well. It's like more of a companion series, although it is smart to read the first book first so you know a bit more about the characters. But it is, I believe, a companion series. And yeah, this was my best sequel. Now I'm going to wait to do my hair and then we're going to start my day and work and just do the things that we do on a Friday before the weekend starts. Okay, it's 9:15. I'm about to start work. I've got quite a few things to do today because at 4 p.m. my friend Jolene is coming over, so I need to finish work by then. But I also thought I would tell you what I'm currently reading because I have nearly finished Keith Richards' memoir Life and I am loving this so much. I wish it was like released later because we're missing like 14 years of his life right now because this one was written in 2010. But I'm glad I'm finally reading it. I love it so much. He has been through some bizarre things in his life, personally, with the Stones, with different bands, and just it's crazy and so interesting. And I love Keith Richards very much. I really hope that the Stones will do another tour, but they are freaking 80 years old. But I wouldn't be surprised because they're still going strong. So this is the book that I'm currently physically reading. I'm also listening to an audiobook because I am rereading A Court of Thorns and Roses. I read it for the first time in 2015 when it was released, but I unhauled it after a few years. I only ever read the first two books and I just wasn't really too into it, but now I'm really in this weird YA fantasy mood, so I decided to reread it. And now I'm also kind of sad that I got rid of these first covers because apparently they are super rare right now, and I had 3, so it's a shame I got rid of them, but oh well. I'm listening to that on audiobook and I'm enjoying it so much. So maybe this time around I will read the entire series. But let's take a look at question 3 of the mid-year book Freakout tag, because that one is a new release you haven't read yet but want to. Well, the thing is, I'm not buying any books at the moment. I haven't bought a book in like over 6, nearly 7 months, I think. And that is because I want to read the books that are currently on my TBR, on my shelf. So I'm not really focusing on new releases too much. However, there are a few, and the first one is called The Honey Witch. Do I know what this book is about? No, I do not, but it has got an amazing cover and it is apparently witchy, which I love right now. So that is one new release, and that is a nice bridge to question 4, which is your most anticipated release for the second half of the year. And this is a book that I do actually really want to get, because it's called The Story Collector, and it is also written by Evie Woods, the author of The Lost Bookshop. And this one also just sounds so magical. The cover looks amazing, and definitely a new release that I really do want to get. But let's start with some work today, because as I said, I have quite a few things to do. I need to film a sponsored TikTok video. I need to create listings for lots of mystery bags that I'm making, because this weekend I am going to a really fun event, a book event called Yartival, and I thought I would make lots of new mystery bags to sell in my shop. So I'm also going to put these mystery bags in my web shop and not only sell them at like events and markets. So I need to take photos and create listings for those mystery bags, and I need to record a Patreon podcast, because I do a monthly sort of podcast on my Patreon where I just talk about the month and the books and what's been going on in my life. On my to-do list will start this vlog, which I can already tick off. I also need to grab products that I need to ship over to the Swan Market store in Haarlem where I sell my products, and I want to do Pinterest things and post my products on Pinterest and stuff. So lots of little things to do. Let's see how far we can get in the next few hours. I finished all the listings for the mystery bags, I took some photos, and it feels good. I love making these mystery bags. They're basically different price categories and different, products that are in all of these mystery bags, with all products from my website. So if you're like, maybe I want to get something, but you don't know what to get, these are definitely the way to go, because they are 4 different price ranges and 4 different combinations of products. But before we continue with the next thing on my to-do list, I thought I would talk about 2 more questions from the tag. So the 5th question is the biggest disappointment, and unfortunately I'm going to have to go with Orlando by Virginia Woolf. The thing is, I would love to be one of these people who just devours classics and loves them, but I'm just not it. Sometimes I just find them a bit boring. Maybe I just really need to take more time with it when reading these type of classics, and I really enjoyed her essay A Room of One's Own, but this one just wasn't really it for me. This is about a person called Orlando who finds himself suddenly one day turning into a woman. He was a man first, then he's a woman. What's happening outside of my street? Oh, it's a cleaning car. So he suddenly wakes up a woman, and the thing that I found really interesting about this book was how it was all about these gender roles and how it differs between men and women. So that was interesting. But I don't know, I wanted to really enjoy this book and I just didn't. But that's okay. But talking about question 6 is the biggest surprise. And I've actually got 2. Okay, the first one is this one again, just because I literally didn't know anything about this book. I'd never heard of it before. It just looked cute and I loved it. But the second one is one that I really didn't think I would love so much. It is called Shark Heart, a love story, written by Emily Hayback. And this is such an interesting magical realism book, because it is about people, it's about a couple, and it's about these people who live in a world where you can kind of get infected with something that turns you into an animal. But only your body, so your mind remains human and clear, but your body turns into an animal. And this is about a couple of which I believe the man turns into a great white shark over the course of 9 months. And It was so unique and interesting, and like how this affected their relationship. And what do you do if your partner turns into an animal? How did someone come up with that? So this was definitely such a big surprise. I really enjoyed this one, and I thought this was written in such an interesting way as well. It's kind of quite poetic and very short chapters. It was written, as I said, in such an interesting way. Really short chapters, and yeah, quite lyrical. I love this, so that was a very big surprise. We are going to continue with the questions later on, but right now, let me look at my to-do list. I am going to record a Patreon podcast, but I always just use my camera for this because I've got this microphone on there, so I just film myself, but then I just use the audio because I've got this microphone on there that works well, and I don't know how to connect this microphone to my computer so I can just record with the microphone, but I haven't really figured out a way to do it, but this also works. So I'm going to record the podcast on my camera. It is 11:30 and I've also already finished the sponsored TikTok videos that I had to film, and it's going so well. I've already done so much today. So I thought I would tell you about the next few questions of the mid-year book Freakout tag. Question 7 is your favorite new author, and this can be a debut author or a new author to you. I'm going to go with Sangu Mandana because this was the book that I wanted. I wanted a cozy witchy book with lovely characters that just, like, it was just vibes. I wanted just vibes, and that was what this book was. I thought it was so cute. They're releasing a second book later this year, although I sometimes read that it was already released, but it was a bit weird. But apparently she's writing a different book also about witches and coziness, and I am so incredibly excited. So this is definitely one of my new favorite authors, and I can actually keep this book for the next question, which is your newest fictional crush. The thing is, I don't really crush that easily on fictional characters, but in here we had Jamie, and he was a really cute librarian who was a bit grumpy at times, and I like those kind of people. They're sometimes a bit grumpy, but on the inside are just very warm, and I think Jamie was like that. I feel like maybe I'm going to take a little bit of a reading break because I'm also going to be working the entire Sunday, and yesterday morning I started work at 6:45, so maybe I need to take a little bit of a break, and I'm going to read some more from Life by Keith Richards because I really want to finish it before the new month starts, because I mean, doesn't it feel so good to finish a book at the end of a month? Because it definitely feels good to me. It is already 2 p.m. I have had some lunch, I read a bit more from Life, and I've just been editing this video already, and it's going so well. I'm like in such a good working mood and it feels so good. So I thought I would also go to the next 2 questions of the tag. Number 9 is your newest favorite character, and for this one I'm going to go with Atticus Finch from To Kill a Mockingbird. I'd never read this book when I was younger, I never had to read it for school, and it's just one of these classics that half the world has read, and I now understand why people think Atticus Finch is such a brilliant character. Atticus is a white man, a lawyer who defends a black man during a trial, and what I love about him is how he really wants to share his norms and values with his children, how important it is to respect and accept everyone in this world, no matter which skin color you have, and how he always wants to do what is morally right. And I think he's just a very brilliant character who remains calm, who like stands up for injustice, and I just really loved reading about him. Then we've got question 10, a book that made you cry. There hasn't been a book that made me like tear up, really like tears going down my face, but there was a book that left me a little teary-eyed, which was Lie With Me, written by Philippe Besson, and this is translated from French. It's a very short story that is about 2 men who had an affair when they were very young, and then later on in life when they look back at this time of how much someone can mean to you in such a short period of time, how much you can feel for someone, and just the beauty of feeling so connected to someone and loving someone. And this was very emotional and beautiful, and it was just so freaking good. So highly recommend this one. Okay, I'm going to continue editing this vlog, and then I'll be back later with the final 3 questions of the tag. Okay, it is actually the next day. I didn't film the last part of the vlog yesterday with the final 3 questions, but I had the loveliest time with Jolien. The weather was amazing, so we had such lovely drinks and some snacks outside in the sun, and then we cooked some dinner. So I'm just going to answer the final 3 questions. 11 is a book that made you happy, and again I'm going to go with this one because honestly this just had all the vibes. It made me feel so happy reading this book, and I just loved it. I thought it was so much fun. Then we've got the most beautiful book you've bought so far this year or received. Well, I haven't bought a new book myself this year, but the most beautiful book that I received is this one, The Lying Women of Tehran, written by Marjane Kamali, and I think this cover is super pretty, so definitely this one. And then the final question of the mid-year book Freakout tag is, what book do you need to read by the end of the year? I want to do it. I finally want to start this series by Robin Hobb. I've had this book on my shelf for like 2 years already. It's called The Ship of Magic, and apparently it's a super adventurous piratey story. And it just sounds right up my alley, but the thing is, it's freaking ginormous. It's like nearly 900 pages, and this is only one of the books, but still I am going to try to do this. Maybe I'll just read this on my e-reader because it is a bit easier to read than reading this at home, but even like it does feel good to just read one of these big ass books and just break the spine and like really live this book, you know what I mean? So this autumn or this winter I need to do it. Okay, this was the end of this tag. Let me know in the comments if you like the style of doing one of these book tags in the form of a daily vlog. I personally really enjoy doing it like this because sitting down for like half an hour constantly talking for a video is not my favorite way to film videos. I just love filming vlogs. So I hope that you enjoyed this too. If you want to answer some of the questions in the comments, please feel free to do so. And if you don't know what to comment, but you want to comment something, comment a lovely sun emoji. Make the comment section look like summer and sunny, and just, oh, it was such, like, the weather is amazing right now. So make it look super summery. Thank you again so much for watching. I really hope that you are having a beautiful day, and I will hopefully see you in my next video.